Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're tackling a subject that is literally top of mind for thousands of professionals all over the world right now. We are unpacking the real, hidden financial realities of moving a family to Dubai in 2026. You know, if you've been scrolling online, you've probably seen the glamorous side of Dubai relocation, right? The sunshine, the incredible amenities, and of course the big one, the promise of keeping absolutely everything you earn. But when you're moving not just yourself, but a spouse and children too, well, the financial playbook changes entirely. It's like a giant puzzle. Today, we're going to break down the true cost using hard data so you can plan your move with absolute confidence. Let's get right into it. So let's start with the big question that brings so many people to the UAE in the first place. Is tax-free living actually free? It's a pretty fantastic hook, isn't it? The zero personal income tax is undeniably Dubai's biggest structural advantage, for sure. But, and this is a massive but, when you raise a family here, the financial burden simply shifts. Instead of the state providing things like education and healthcare through your tax dollars, or dirhams in this case, those costs fall directly onto your shoulders as a parent. The money doesn't just magically disappear. It just gets reallocated from government taxes right into your direct living expenses. To help you navigate all of this, we're going to walk through a budget blueprint together today. We'll start off with the tax-free reality check, then move into securing visas and healthcare. After that, we'll look at the family housing equation, unpack the true cost of education, and finally, wrap up by weighing commuting costs, cars versus transit. All right, Section 1, the tax-free reality check, and what I like to call the illusion of the minimum salary. Okay, let's dive into this. There is a staggering gap between what is legally allowed and what is practically required. The UAE sets the legal minimum salary to sponsor a spouse at just 4,000 dirhams a month, or 3,000 plus employer-provided housing. But our data shows that a realistic, comfortable budget for a family of 4 in Dubai actually runs anywhere from 20,000 to 38,000 dirhams per month. And this brilliantly illustrates the core issue right here. 4,000 dirhams a month is an eligibility threshold, not a living budget. That's just the bar the government checks on your application. I really want to emphasize this crucial distinction so that you don't make a dangerous budgeting mistake based on official visa requirements. You simply cannot survive as a family of 4 on 4,000 dirhams a month in Dubai. The baseline for survival is completely different from the baseline for comfort. Moving right along to Section 2. Securing visas and healthcare, and the family multiplier effect.
You see, when you move as a single expat, your employer generally handles the paperwork. Easy, right? But when you bring a family, the math changes really quickly. Getting a Dubai residence visa is a fixed 4-stage process. First up, you get an entry permit. Second, you do a medical fitness test, which includes a chest x-ray and blood work. Third, you register your biometrics for your Emirates ID. And finally, the visa stamping phase. End to end, this whole shebang typically takes 2 to 3 weeks. But honestly, the time isn't the shocker here. The cost is.
Because here's the catch. While UAE law mandates that an employer must cover the visa costs for their employee, they are under absolutely zero obligation to cover your dependents. This means the substantial cost of bringing your spouse and children falls entirely on your family budget. You're looking at roughly 3,500 to 5,000 dirhams per dependent for a standard 2-year visa. So if you have a spouse and 2 kids, you're immediately looking at over 10,000 dirhams just for the legal right to reside there.
And then there's health insurance. This is legally mandatory for every single resident. Now, while lower-income workers might use a basic essential benefits plan, comprehensive international coverage for a family can easily reach around 5,400 dirhams a month. That's roughly 65,000 dirhams a year. Let that sink in. Also, maternity cover is mandatory for married women. Oh, and whatever you do, do not let your coverage lapse, because penalties are strictly enforced. This is a massive line item that often catches new expats entirely off guard.
Let's jump to Section 3, the family housing equation and the space versus commute trade-offs.
So every family has to weigh this fundamental housing trade-off, space versus commute times. Think of Dubai Hills Estate as the benchmark for central family living. It's got top schools, a mall, and a hospital literally right inside the community. But to buy in there, you're starting at around 5 million dirhams for a 3-bedroom property. Now, look a little further out. Town Square offers incredible community living starting from about 1.8 million. And if you really want the most space for your money, Damac Hills 2 offers villas starting around just 1.2 million dirhams. The trade-off? You're trading central proximity and a short commute for more square footage. But remember, the sticker price is never the final cost in Dubai. Let's talk about service charges. Established villa communities like Arabian Ranches or Damak Hills 2 might charge just 2 to 6 dirhams per square foot annually. Pretty reasonable. But if you want a premium waterfront apartment, like, say, in Dubai Creek Harbor, those service charges can skyrocket up to 23 dirhams per square foot. On a 2,500 square foot home, that difference in annual fees alone could be over 40,000 dirhams.
Actually, scratch that. If you're renting instead of buying, please keep this crucial point in mind. Rent in Dubai isn't a casual monthly direct debit like you might be used to. It is typically paid upfront in 1 to 4 post-dated checks for the entire year. Add to that a 5% security deposit and a 5% agency commission. Trying to budget a monthly equivalent without having that massive upfront cash ready? That is one of the most painful first-year mistakes new residents make. Cash flow management here is absolutely key.
All right, on to Section 4, the true cost of education and shifting burdens from the state directly to the parent.
So, education. This is what often acts as the highest variable cost for families, and it's the exact point where a single person's budget violently separates from a family's budget. 2.35%. Anyone know what this crucial government percentage means for their wallet? I'll give you a hint. It's literally the only thing standing between you and runaway tuition costs.
It's the Education Cost Index, or ECI. For the 2025 to 2026 academic year, Dubai's Knowledge and Human Development Authority has capped fee increases at for-profit private schools at 2.35%. Think of this as a protective shield to stop schools from hiking fees randomly. However, even with this cap, you have to remember that these fees still compound year over year as your child progresses through the grades.
To give you a realistic picture, let's look at the raw numbers. Nurseries are going to set you back between 2,000 and 5,000 dirhams per month. Once they hit international primary schools, whether that's British, American, or IB curriculums, you are looking at anywhere from 38,000 to an eye-watering 110,000 dirhams per child per year. And honestly, that usually doesn't even include uniforms, transport, or extracurriculars. This right here is exactly why a family's cost of living is vastly different from a general expat average.
Let's bring it home with Section 5, commuting, cars versus transit, and exploring daily practicalities and costs. Now, there is a very common myth out there that Dubai is only built for cars, but the reality, an incredible 82% of Dubai's urban area is now covered by the RTA fixed bus network. Once you add in the metro, the tram, and the new app-based bus-on-demand services, the public transport network is actually incredibly expansive and viable for a ton of residents, especially if you're living centrally. And the real reason you should care about this is the cost savings. If you use a Silver Knoll card for public transit, your daily spending is capped at just 14 dirhams. Once you hit that cap, all other trips that day are totally free. Contrast that with the realities of car ownership in Dubai. Factoring in car loans, fuel, insurance, and the new 2026 Salik toll gates, running a private car is going to cost you anywhere between 1,200 and 2,000 dirhams every single month.
Which brings us to an incredibly important realization, where we have to connect the dots between housing and transport. Remember those suburbs like Damak Hills 2 or Town Square? They offer amazing, affordable, spacious family housing. But they almost universally require a private car, and sometimes even 2 for a working couple. The money you save on a cheaper suburban villa might be completely eaten up by your daily commuting expenses and car loans. You absolutely have to calculate housing and transport as one combined budget line.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Dubai offers undeniable safety, fantastic amenities, and an absolutely world-class standard of living. For sure. But the golden question remains. Now that you know the true baseline for a family of 4, is your future salary really an upgrade or just an expensive ticket to a tax-free illusion? Calculate your budget with these hard realities in mind and choose wisely.